Hi everyone, I'm Bee. Welcome back to Read and Roam, the channel where we learn about text and how it fits into our world. I'm at a basketball game right now and it's so exciting. Listen to the commentator.
Davis races across the court, and whoosh, he passes the ball. Jackson's got the ball now, zooming past defenders. Go, go, go! He dribbles, he dodges, and he dunks! The crowd goes wild!
Woo! Hey, did you notice any language the commentator used to get the crowd excited? Today, we'll explore language like this and how authors use it in stories. Let's head back to the studio. So we've been exploring figurative language for some time. We've talked about similes, metaphors, personification, idioms, and today we'll learn about one of my favorites, sound devices. A sound device is a tool that authors use to create sound effects in writing. They're words that help us hear sounds or notice patterns. The commentator used some sound devices at the game. So let's look at what he said. First, he said, Davis races across the court and whoosh, he passes the ball. Notice a word that helps you hear a sound? Whoosh. This is the soft sound a ball makes as it moves quickly through the air. This is onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like the noise it describes. Let's look at what the commentator said next. He said, Jackson's got the ball, zooming past defenders. Go, go, go. What do you notice? The word go is repeated 3 times. This is repetition, when words or phrases are used more than once. Let's look at the last thing he said. He dribbles, he dodges, and he dunks. Notice how the words have a similar starting sound? The words dribbles, dodges, and dunks have the same d sound at the beginning. This is called alliteration. It's when 2 or more words start with the same sound close together in a sentence. Sound devices like these don't just exist at sports games. They're in stories too. Let's read The 3 Little Pigs to see what sound devices we find. Once upon a time, there were 3 little pigs who built their own homes. The first pig built his house out of straw. The second made his from sticks, and the third used strong, sturdy, solid bricks. One day, a wolf came to the first pig's house. He knocked on the door and said, little pig, let me in." But the pig replied, "Not by the hair on my chinny chin." The wolf took a deep breath and huffed and puffed until, crash, the straw house fell down. The little pig ran to his brother's house. The wolf went to the second pig's house. Little pig, let me in." But the second pig yelled, "Not by the hair on my chinny chin." So the wolf blew out a big breath, and the stick house crumbled to the ground. The 2 terrified, trembling pigs ran to their brother's house of bricks. The wolf banged on the third pig's door. Little pig, let me in." But the third pig shouted, "Not by the hair on my chinny chin." The wolf exhaled, but this time, nothing happened. He climbed onto the roof and slid down the chimney. Thud! He landed in a boiling, bubbling, blistering hot pot the pigs had placed in the fireplace. The wolf screamed and ran away as fast as he could. The three little pigs cheered, safe at last in their brick house. Did you spot any sound devices? Let's start with alliteration. We need to search for two or more words close together that start with this same sound. Check this out. Strong, sturdy, solid. All start with the same s sound. Here's another one. The two terrified, trembling pigs. What do they have in common? The beginning t sound. Now it's your turn. Let's focus on the last paragraph. Pause the video to highlight a part of the story that uses alliteration. Let's check. The words boiling, bubbling, and blistering in this sentence all start with the same b sound. This is alliteration. Now, what about onomatopoeia? We need to find words that sound like noises. It's helpful to read words aloud and ask yourself, does it sound like the noise the word describes? Think of it like searching for sound effects. Here's one, knocked. What does it sound like? It sounds like the noise you make when you knock on a door. There are 3 more onomatopoeias in this paragraph. Can you find them all? Pause here to circle 3 words that are onomatopoeia. In this paragraph, there are huffed, puffed, and crash. When we read huff and puff, it's like the noise we make when blowing out air. And crash is the noise something makes when it, well, crashes. These are all onomatopoeia. And lastly, let's find repetition. In a text, you can find words repeated close together in a sentence and also whole phrases repeated throughout. So, let's scan the story to find repeated phrases. Here's a tip. Look at what characters say, because it's common in stories like this for characters to repeat phrases, almost like a chant or a song. Here's one, little pig, let me in. It's used here and here as well. Can you spot more repetition? Pause the video to underline a repeated phrase in the story. Let's check. A repeated phrase is, not by the hair on my chinny chin chin. And notice how this phrase uses another sound device too? Chinny chin chin is also alliteration. Sometimes authors use several sound devices at the same time. Great work! We found all 3 sound devices in the story. But why do authors use this type of figurative language? Let's think about the 3 little pigs. Imagine the author wrote, the wolf blew air, instead of he huffed and puffed. Which description helps you imagine the blowing sound best? Probably huffed and puffed. But why? Well, do you remember learning about sensory details in a previous lesson? They're words that help readers see, smell, feel, taste, or hear what's happening in a story. Onomatopoeia does this too, especially with the sense hearing. It helps readers create a detailed picture in their minds, making them feel like they're inside the story. Now, what about alliteration? Well, imagine the author described the pot as hot instead of boiling, bubbling, blistering. Which description stands out to you? This one grabs my attention the most because the catchy pattern that alliteration creates makes the text more interesting. Lastly, let's think about repetition. Imagine the wolf said, "Let me in," just once, instead of repeating, little pig, let me in." Which phrase is more memorable? I think this one is more interesting and sticks in my mind more. Repetition helps us pay attention to important phrases and builds excitement each time we hear them. Just like other figurative language we've learned about, sound devices bring stories to life, which makes them interesting. Now that you know all about sound devices, try spotting them in the stories you read. I'm off to another game where I'm sure I'll hear more sound devices. I'm going to watch my favorite baseball team, the Lions. Lions, lions, loud and proud. Huh, would you look at that? Their chant uses alliteration and repetition. All right, I've got to go. Remember, where there are words, there's a world to explore. Bye.
Hey, hey.